But have you lost control of the situation at all with Senator Obama coming out of this meeting with Prime Minister Maliki, for example, yesterday and saying, you know, look, he's for my plan, essentially. He wants to get troops out by 2010. How does that not interfere?
Quite the contrary. Quite the contrary. I think that people have missed the most important point, which is the only reason we are even able to have conversations about bringing troops home is based on the success we've had because of the President's leadership and General Petraeus' leadership in implementing the surge strategy, which was an enormously unpopular decision in January of 2007. Could not have been more unpopular at the time. But they decided to take it because it was the right thing to do in their minds. A lot of people opposed it. But we went forward. We persevered. And even in June of 2007, I remember when the troops hadn't all arrived yet, the violence was still quite high, and everybody asked if the surge had failed. Well, here we are a year later, and I don't think anybody in this room would have thought that we would have made the gains that we've made. It's because of conditions on the ground that have changed dramatically and improved dramatically that we're even able to talk about bringing troops home. We share the goal of wanting to bring troops home. We have offered to talk about aspirational goals for general time horizons where we could look to see hypothetically when we might be able to have Iraqis take control of their own security in certain provinces. But we're going to need to transition our mission to one of overwatch, counterterrorism training. Those are the things that we need to be able to do to help support the Iraqis, and they're going to need that support for a long time into the future, and the Iraqis say that as well. So I think that quite the contrary of all this trip of his might be a distraction for many, and maybe a welcome one for the media. It's not one for President Bush.
But what about the fact beyond the media, the fact that Prime Minister Maliki seems to be agreeing with Obama's approach?
We went through this again yesterday, and I think that there's a big difference about a bilateral joint agreement on a general time horizon that is an aspirational goal that will be based on conditions on the ground and what military commanders, our military commanders and the Iraqi military commanders, believe will be their capacity. These will not be dates plucked out of thin air based on an American political calendar or based on an American inside the Beltway decision of we think this would be a good date to remove troops. We want to bring troops home based on success, and in fact the President has already started to do so. We have reduced 5 brigades this year alone. There could be more to come. I mean, those are decisions that are going to have to be made later this fall when President Bush hears from General Petraeus on his report.
I get that. I just don't understand, though, why Maliki doesn't seem to believe that. He's not adding those caveats. He's saying he wants troops out by 2010.
I disagree, and I think people are missing his saying that things will have to be based on conditions, and it won't be arbitrary. And I would point you to the statement that the President and Prime Minister Maliki put out on Friday. It is no small thing for two leaders to issue a statement. It was one that was taken with care and with seriousness.
Dana, can I just follow that for a second? How is President Bush's relationship with Prime Minister Maliki these days?
It's very good. I get to sit in the meetings every other Thursday when they have their civets, and I would say that they have a good relationship. I think the President and Prime Minister Maliki have come a long way together. I think President Bush feels that Prime Minister Maliki is somebody that has gone through a lot, and President Bush has stuck with him through a lot of turbulent times, but they've together worked to implement the surge, and I think that now Iraq is beginning to see the fruit of some of that labor, and that they did also say, I mean, we can't lose sight of the fact that they're grateful for what all that the Americans have done, and we want them to be able. We want our troops to be able to come home too. We want to transition our mission, but we're not going to do it willy-nilly.
I guess that's the question. Is there any feeling inside the administration, if not in the Oval Office with the President, with other people involved in the policy, that you're stuck by Prime Minister Maliki, and now all of this media and attention and press about bringing the troops home is Prime Minister Maliki walking down a hallway with Barack Obama? Do you feel that the President's gotten sort of short shrift from the Iraqis, from Maliki?
On that side, look, Senator Obama is a United States Senator as well. He's not just a Democratic candidate. I realize the role that he's in right now as Democratic candidate going to Iraq, but Prime Minister Maliki has met with many United States senators, including the senator.
Made such a big splash as far as.
Well, I think that there's a different. And look, we have said for many months that we would try to get the Strategic Framework Agreement finished by July 31st. It is July 22nd. We're nearing the end of those negotiations, though I think that it'll take a little while longer past July 31st for us to finalize. I think that it should come as no surprise that as the Iraqi conditions have continued to improve because of the work that President Bush and General Petraeus have done, that we would start seeing, as we finalize these agreements, people being a little bit more vocal about it. And the fact that the trip coincides with those negotiations, I think is more of a coincidence than anything else.
Kill Prime Minister Maliki while he's making statements about this, to say, yeah, like President Bush is, because of what President Bush's policy has allowed us to do that.
I think they have. I think that they have. I think that there have been quotes that have been plucked out of certain interviews that show that the Iraqis are ambitious, that they believe that they're going to be able to take over more of their own sovereignty, more of their own control. We share the goal. We should all be embracing the fact that we are going to be able to start bringing more troops home based on success, if conditions on the ground permit.
And am I hearing from you that there is less space between the President and Prime Minister Maliki on the time horizon than there is between Prime Minister Maliki and Senator Obama?
I frankly don't know what Senator Obama's plan for Iraq is. I'm the spokesperson for President Bush. I follow his policies. I work hard for him. I'm not here to speak for Senator Obama, and he had a press conference today. He can speak for himself. I'm just not going to do it. Ann?